Hello, welcome back to the tips for filing a VA service-connected claim, and in my case, it was years after the fact. When I decided to file the claim, I chose to go through a veteran service organization, and based on the representative's recommendation, she submitted an intent to file a claim to the VA beforehand. And what that intent does is it, one, lets the VA know that you plan to file a claim, but it gives you some time to gather a little bit more evidence. You have to file the actual claim within 1 year of submitting the intent. And then last, if your claim is approved, the effective date is backdated to the day you filed the intent versus the day you submitted the actual claim, if that makes sense to you. Now, things may have changed since I submitted my claim. It's been years ago. However, when I Googled intent to file a claim, it was still there, so maybe it's still something that they accept. Second, it was the gathering of the evidence. And I don't want to get into a lot of details. I simply won't do that. So in some places, you'll notice that I'm vague, and that's all for my own personal level of comfort. But I will say this, the incident, the series of incidents that occurred are indisputable. They're indisputable. So unlike some, I did not have to prove that the event occurred. However, I did have the burden of proof on showing how that event affected and impacted my life. And the information that I submitted with the claim, and I also submitted information after I submitted the claim, and I'll get into that with you in a minute. But the information that I submitted with the claim was, of course, my private doctor reports, therapy reports, private and both from the VA. I attended a couple of programs. I also submitted what they call buddy statements, which is not necessarily from other service members, but from people who who know of your trauma or who you may have spoken with, to just add a paragraph of two on how they've seen it affect your life, or just relay information that you've told them over the years. And I added that. And for me, I typed up and submitted my own application for benefits, even though traditionally that information is relayed to the organization and they type it for you. It's like transcribing, but I simply would not do that. And I explained to her that I did not want to relive that incident in front of her, and that I would type my own application and provide the details of my trauma. And she understood, and God bless her, she did not even glance at that paperwork when I submitted it to her while I was still in the room. So she read it, of course, but at least I walked out of there with some sense of dignity. And so she submitted the documents, and maybe, I don't know, it's a blur, but maybe a couple of months later, I received a call from the VA, the person who was processing my claim, or maybe it's processing tiers, or it's this person it goes to, and then it's forwarded to the next person. I'm not sure. But anyway, I got a call, and that was such a bad day for me. Oh, it was a bad day. It was a bad day. It was a bad day. Because I felt as though I was being attacked, or the questions that she was posing, I was in disbelief. I was like, what's wrong with you? Like, it's pretty cut and dry. What more do you need? My blood type? I mean, what in the world could you possibly want to further validate my claim? or maybe I was just being too hypersensitive, but I just recall I pulled over. I was in my car when she called, and I just cried. And I thought to myself, this is why I did not want to do it in the first place, because of this type of mentality. So after I calmed down, I thought about it, right? And I said to myself, how can I make this easier for her? How can I make this easier for them to approve my claim? And what I did was I spelled it out. I made it plain. I created a timeline. On or about this time, this is what occurred. On or about this day, this is what occurred. And I just kept going. And on or about this day is when I sought treatment. And I just made it plain. And this is how this is connected. And at this date and time, I was assigned to A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I had detail after detail. It was almost sickening. But a short time thereafter, I did receive notification in the mail that my CNP exam was scheduled, and I think it was like a month out, and I was a wreck. I was a wreck. And I thought that when I was going into the doctor for the evaluation, that it would be the same thing. I would kind of feel raked over the coals. And so when I walked in, I was angry. I was mad at myself. I was mad at my command. I was furious with my command. I was just angry. That's the best way I could describe it. I started off very abrupt. I was just ready. I was bracing for the punch. But I think that the psychiatrist that they assigned to me she had empathy, and I don't recall a lot of questions about the trauma itself. I just recall her questioning me about how it affected my life. And I think it may have lasted, I don't know, it probably took me about 15 minutes to finish bawling my eyes out before we actually could get started, and I could kind of have a sense of relief that she wasn't going to attack me, and I was able to pour out my feelings to a certain extent. And needless to say, I know some people have really, really bad experiences during their CNP exams, but this one, as I look back on it, wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. And I think her stance and just her empathy made it much, much easier for me. So I wish you well. I received the decision via e-benefits, and that's another thing. If you're not already enrolled in e-benefits, get an e-benefits account. And I received the decision. And they did approve me for a service-connected disability, and all the hard work and all the nightmare of it all. At the end of the day, I am glad that I sought treatment, and I am glad that I did submit the claim. And if you get a chance, I'm going to create another video on the benefits of therapy. I can't stress the importance enough that you cannot do this by yourself. You absolutely cannot. You cannot, because a lot of us don't even know how messed up we are, or we just don't know. And sometimes we're just walking in quicksand, and we're just trying to save ourselves, that we don't realize how we're being perceived by others, and we don't realize how not only is it affecting us, but it's affecting everything around us. It's affecting our families, our friends. It's therapy really helped me see some things. Like I said before, I just flat out didn't blame my aggressor. I just didn't. That didn't come until later. Like I said before, I just questioned myself and, how come I didn't do this? Or why didn't I do that? Or, why? And, why didn't I run? But therapy helped me to understand why I reacted the way I did. And with that, I was able to live with myself just a little bit better. And so I would recommend therapy, like I said before, for anyone. So in wrapping this up, like I said, I hope I helped. If you have any questions for me, put them in the comment section, and I'll try to respond as soon as I can. And don't forget to watch part 3 about therapy. And there I will be very genuine and honest with how I felt about myself after that trauma occurred. So thank you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can get a notification when I post the next video. And have a nice night and remain hopeful.